Hello there again, everybody. This is going to be Jund League number 49. We're traveling even farther off of the beaten path this time. What I mean by that is we're playing fewer copies of Tarmogoyf. As we'll see in the metagame snapshot that I do before each recording, I think the meta is becoming even more of a 2-for-1 centric battle where the more card advantage you can grab, the better. And Tarmogoyf is really just one of those cards where it has no other job other than be a gigantic beat stick for 2 mana. So I have increased my numbers of cards that are likely to steamroll the game individually. Obviously, if I can have a handful of multiple multi-for-ones, I can ideally pull ahead on the card advantage game playing against things like the Titan Toolbox decks and the Euro decks. Ideally, I can just climb ahead in cards that way. But if I am not just climbing ahead on cards, I wanted to maximize the number of cards that has had the potential to, by themselves, pull ahead. So examples of that would be Scavenging Ooze. It can on top of being a threat, dominate a graveyard. Dark Confidant, on top of being a threat, it has a ridiculous capacity to produce cards. And as well as the new addition that I'm attempting to play today is Tireless Tracker. To make room for 2 Tireless Trackers, I shaved down on Seasoned Pyromancer. I think Pyromancer is still probably good enough to have show up, but I was toying with the idea of just not playing it at all. But I had an extra spot in the deck because I didn't want to play more Tarmogoyf, so I just included the first copy of Seasoned Pyromancer. Tireless Tracker, I have a love-hate relationship with. If you play it on turn 3, it's not super impactful, but if you play it on any single turn where you have like a fetch land to pair it with, which is pretty easy considering we're also playing Wrenn and 6, Tracker can really steal a game pretty much by itself. In the top deck war, we're gonna make sure to not crack any fetch lands that we don't have to, because if we draw a Tracker, we can convert those landfall triggers into extra resources. And then obviously still playing 4 copies of Bloodbraid Elf, just another really good curve topper. Really great at swinging races if that's what we're interested in, and also just another great multi-for-1 that's perfect to cast into a counter spell. Also changed up the sideboard a little bit. I'm trying out 2 copies of Necromentia. This is for really any combo deck as well as the Uro and Titan decks. Titan meaning Primeval Titan. I know Uro is also a Titan. So obviously Necromentia and stuff like it is inherently card disadvantage, which is the opposite of what I'm attempting to do with this particular build. But I don't think card advantage matters a whole lot if you just die. So I'm willing to take the 1-for-0 if it means that I'm taking the piece that the opponent would use to win, and then hopefully that backs the strategy of then pulling ahead and winning after losing 1 card. But again, I'm pretty okay losing 1 card if it means that I'm not going to die and I actually have the time to employ my own strategy. I have also included a 3rd copy of Collective Brutality. And I'm still rocking the 2 Lightning Bolts in the sideboard alongside Graveyard Hate pieces such as my 2 Ashioks and the 2 Nile Spellbombs. And then Cleansing Wildfire, pretty self-explanatory. I'm definitely wanting to play 24 lands. Because I do have lots of top end, and also it's great with stuff like the Tracker that likes having lands. And then my final deck building consideration was that with the excess, or I guess slightly higher than average number of higher impact steamrolling type cards, I felt it'd be interesting to, instead of playing the 4th Liliana of the Veil, play a copy of Liliana the Last Hope. There are lots of tiny creatures running around right now, especially because of all the prowess decks, so the +1 is actually pretty useful, can pretty often kill something, and then the -2 is going to be pretty amazing for buying back a creature, and then if it sticks around for even an extra turn, you can pretty often buy back 2 creatures, and then when you're buying back 2 creatures that are in themselves multi-for-1s, Liliana can almost by itself represent 4 or more cards, so that can be pretty cool. I think it's got a pretty high ceiling. What's up, Admiral? Yeah, I'm just doing something a little different. I don't have a lot going on this hour, so I figured let's get a stream in. Haven't done one in almost a week. Alright, so let's take a look at the modern meta game, as I mentioned I like to do. Alright, so we've got the Uro Omnath piles still in at number 1 as they have been for quite a while. And all in all, I really like how this meta is looking from the Jund player perspective. Obviously, not super excited about playing against Omnath, but that's what this particular version of the deck is trying to test. I like the Shadow matchups. I think they're pretty interesting. I don't necessarily think they're favored, but I think they're pretty fair, and I enjoy playing them. Heliod Company, a pretty fine matchup outside of the card Collected Company. Amulet Titan, we're not really super excited to play against, but we've got copies of Necromentia to try out. Eldamri's Toolbox, another Amulet Titan deck. Again, another place I expect to bring Necromentia, literally just to name Titan most of the time. I really like our Death and Taxes matchup. Here we just have another Prowess deck, and there's even more Prowess decks down here. Izzet Control, not exactly Prowess, but sometimes they play Thing in the Ice. And Ad Nauseam combo deck would really like to play against that. I think the Ad Nauseam matchup's pretty good. Blue-Black Control I haven't played against yet, but I imagine the matchup's fine. Oops All Spells is probably pretty fine, barring Ley Line of Sanctity. And then here we have Temur Uro sneaking in. Just another Uro pile. I expect that matchup to be pretty disfavorable. And Tron, obviously, I don't want to see that. But, I mean, there's like 10 or so matchups here that I would like to see and 5 that I don't. So, all in all, not the worst. Alright, so let's just go ahead and jump into a league. Constructed. The opponent has revealed Lurrus. Well, we've got 2 Tarmogoyfs in the deck, and we have both of them. That said, this hand's pretty strong. We've got turn 1 Disruption into turn 2 Threat, be it Renin 6 or Tarmogoyf. I expect it, given Lurrus, to be either Shadow or Prowess. This hand's pretty fine versus both of those. The opponent has also kindly mulliganed. Alright, so I guess let's plan the land drops. Obviously going to get Black Source first. If I'm going to shock, it'll be Overrun Tomb because I probably won't end up playing Tarmogoyf. Ooh, Plains is different. Plains and Lurrus I haven't seen before. Unless I'm forgetting something. Oh, it's the Infect deck. The one that tries to assemble the Hammer and the Double Striker. Alright, well, Blackleaf Cliffs makes the turn 1 land drop a little easier. Alright, so they've got 2 Paladins and the Hammer. Unfortunately, Renin 6 does not kill the Paladin. I should probably just take the Hammer because that's the combo piece. It's the only thing that's not redundant. I don't have an answer to the first Paladin, which means the second one is going to be hard to answer too. But I do like taking the non-redundant piece. If the opponent finds additional hammers, it's going to be pretty annoying. Paladin, of course. Another land, not great. I've got plenty of lands. Renin 6 doesn't kill anything. It's probably just best to deploy a Tarmogoyf here. If that's the case, then how am I fetching? My life total could become relevant. So maybe I should just get a basic. I'm not playing Kroxa, so a basic isn't as punishing. I'll get a basic. Make Goyfs a 3/4. Also, there's like nothing in my hand that Forest can't cast, so this is pretty free. Yeah, big Chungus equipment tribal, pretty much. Uh-oh. Let me move the stack over here. Alright, sorry. So now their equipment equipments have flash and auto equip. So the opponent has one card that I don't know about. Alright, so I drew an Inquisition. I'm probably going to save the Inquisition for when the opponent puts the Lurrus into their hand. There's a pretty high likelihood that the Inquisition does hit something, but I don't think whatever it is can be scarier than the Lurrus. So I think what's going to happen here is I'm going to play a land and then deploy second Tarmogoyf. Before all that happens, I can attack. I think it's pretty unlikely that the opponent double blocks, although they could. Puresteel Paladin is such a high value card for the opponent that I don't think they're going to risk a double block. If they do, then I'm pretty okay just killing a Puresteel Paladin. Alright, so I'll deploy Tarmogoyf. And then which land is worse? I've already got the Forest in play, which means that the Verdant is worse. Because like Bloodstained Mire leaves me the ability to fetch basic Mountain if I want, so I'll play the worst fetch first. This game's not going great. Any equipment drawing the opponent 2 cards is obviously pretty bad for me, as well as just like the equipment being really good to auto-equip with the Sigarda's Aid. So I'm going to need to find spot removal spells. Ideally instant speed ones. Kolaghan's Command would also be amazing. Alright, and the opponent just put the Lurrus into their hand, so this is going to look like a pretty good opportunity to cast Inquisition of Kozilek. Alright, I want second black and probably second red. I don't really have lots of multiple green spells. The only thing that would bite me is if I draw like a Scavenging Ooze, but I've got other green sources I can get. So let's just get Overgrown Tomb. Or sorry, let's get the I said I wanted black and red. Yeah, let's just get Overgrown Tomb. I don't really need multiple red. The only double red card in my deck is Seasoned Pyromancer. The only other consideration to having multiple red would be to double spell. So, another land, obviously pretty terrible, but we get to kick it off with an Inquisition. Probably take Lurrus. Alright, they've got a path. Alright, well, we'll take the Lurrus, clearly. Lurrus down. Waves are 4-5. Let's get a smack in. Interesting that they sacked that now. Actually they didn't grow the Tarmogoyf because there was already a hammer. Alright, so the opponent is at 7. They've got a path and they're gonna have 2 fresh cards. If I play the Renin 6, they can attack it down. If they attack it down, that likely means that a Goyf will get in, because again they've got at minimum 1 path to exile. We're not playing bolts, but they don't know that. It's hard to not play the Renin 6. Also, they know my top cards. I'll probably be shuffling. I could just Renin 6 and minus on them to put them to 6. I kind of like that. Like, buying back a land doesn't do a whole lot. The issue... I'm definitely playing this Renin 6. So, if I minus target them, that puts them to 6. Goyfs are currently 4-5, so if I put them to 6 and they can leave back a Puresteel Paladin to block and then path the other one, so there's no guarantee that I'll be getting damage in. Or if they can kill the Renin 6 pretty easily. Like if I plus the Renin 6, I have to commit both of the Renin 6 to kill it. Probably best to just have them commit both, because again, then if they path one, I can at least get in with one Goyf, and then they have to fear Lightning Bolt. Uh-oh. Yeah, I mean, any equipment's going to be really bad for me. Alright, they found the hammer. They're not at lethal quite yet. But they've got Path up, which is going to make it pretty hard for us to kill them. Probably should have yielded this a while ago. The opponent does still have to fear a fatal push. Like, this isn't absolutely certain that they win here. Although, if I had the push, I probably would have done it earlier so they wouldn't draw all these cards. I'm going to put this over there, I guess. This doesn't have haste, though. They have land. Actually, yeah, this gets hammer. They can tap this for mana, put hammer on the other pure steel, and just kill me. So assuming they see it, which they're playing the deck, I guess they do. They'll kill me here. Alright, so mono white Steel Shaper's Gift. They do play a pretty high number of search effects, but I don't think Ashiok is going to be strong enough. I definitely want to bring in the bolts, and Brutality has a fair number of duress hits, as well as just being another removal spell is probably fine. So I like these 5. I like the Disruption, obviously like the Fatal Pushes. I like all of the removal pretty much. Bob should be absolutely fantastic here. The opponent doesn't have a whole lot of Grave Hate, so it's possible Scavenging Ooze is on the weaker side. Pyromancer is going to make some blockers, but that doesn't seem super relevant. I'll cut one of the expensive cards. I need 3 more cuts. Ren and 6 isn't killing a whole lot. I like shaving on those. And like 1 more cut. Honestly, this Liliana Last Hope isn't really going to be doing a whole lot. All of their stuff is like X2 or bigger. And all of the removal is exile based, i.e. Path to Exile. It's possible I should be playing around Rest in Peace by taking out a Goyf, but I'm not going to go down on threats. If I'm already taking out an Ooze and the Bloodbraid, I don't want to go too low on those. Let's go first. Oof. This hand's excellent if we could guarantee a second land is on top, but unfortunately we can't do that. Well, one of those days. We've got a Bolt and we've got a Ren and 6, but I mean, the rest of our hand is so expensive that we really need to have more lands coming. I mean, any land means that the Ren gets to guarantee more lands, but I think it's probably a little too risky. Alright, we're rewarded. We've got a Ren and 6, which means I can pretty freely bottom just some lands. Yeah, not like this. I mean, it happens. Alright, so I'm most likely to want to fetch Basic Forest to cast Ren and 6, so I'll lead on Mire. Swamp isn't super crazy either, but Swamp doesn't cast Ren and 6. So I'll probably get like Blood Crypt, Forest, Ren and 6, plus targeting either of these. Uh-oh. Oh, I was gonna say I'll probably just end up brutalitying the Ornithopter because we could be in trouble to some hammers. What I'll probably end up doing is I can Ren and 6 and ping the Memnite. I could Brutality, but then this Ren and 6 is no longer good for a kill spell. So what I'm probably going to plan on doing is Ren and 6 now, and then Liliana minus next turn. I'll get Basic Forest like I mentioned. Yeah, this Sigarda's 8 is going to be scary. We died a land double hammer, but I mean, I don't think we were ever beating that without like instant speed removal. I mean, we also mulligan super low. The opponent says just a sec. But yeah, as far as game one is concerned, I don't think we had a bad keep, especially given that we knew about Lurrus. But I mean, we just didn't find any removal, and then this game, we're doing the best I can. Uh-oh. Alright, well, if they don't have second hammer, we can edict the Ornithopter. Gonna have to be scared of second hammer equipping an Inkmoth Nexus, but they didn't have the second hammer now, so they probably don't have it. Oh, we just die. If I Liliana minus, they'll just animate the Inkmoth. But I mean, I don't have another play, so I'm gonna have to just hope they don't see it. No spot removal is rough. No instant speed spot removal. Alright, please don't activate your Inkmoth. Oh, thank God. They didn't see it. Yeah, they had us dead. They just needed to activate the Inkmoth and sacrifice that. So you're telling me there's a chance? The Paladin. Yep, I mean, we can brutality that. Ravine, not bad. Alright, plus. Opponent discards without information. Let's ditch the Verdant. We've got as many lands as we want with the Renin 6. There is an argument to escalating the brutality. In fact, it's probably pretty free. I might even want to just gain some life. Do I just full escalate this thing? Kind of think I do. Because like I'm interested in potentially taking a Path to Exile. I've got all the lands I want because of the Renin 6. I don't think I'm playing the Start Confidant. They had the quick hammer draw. So let's 3-mode it. And then we'll keep the Ravine. We still just do die to someone drawing a hammer. Oh, you have another Apostle's Blessing? Alright. We drain you at least. Now they get to attack Liliana. And we die to a hammer or a way to find a hammer. Oof, that's a hammer. So we're dead, assuming they get hammer. Paradise Mantle? A little confused. Is there some combo that I'm not seeing here? Oh, they're just turning on Metalcraft. Sure. Yeah, that works. Pretty unfortunate. I just don't think I had the cards that lined up well. Like, I do have a bunch of cards that line up really, really well. Like, Inquisition Thoughtseize is obviously pretty important. 4 Fatal Push is pretty important. Terminate, Dreadbore, Kolaghan's Command, all very good, but I didn't see any of those that game. Mulliganing to 5 will do that. Wow, we're just not getting good hands today. What is this life? Alright, we'll keep this. Not bottoming these two, and not bottoming the land. I mean, Wrenn and 6 is pretty powerful. Let's just bottom Bloodbraid. I'm the farthest from casting it. Bloodbraid showing up again. I think it's pretty likely that I'd just rather save the 2 life as opposed to casting a Fatal Push. Maybe that's wrong because the first 2 land drops are basically free life-wise anyway, but Scalding Tarn makes me think that it's pretty unlikely I want to be Fatal Pushing anything. Dark Confidant should be pretty good versus the Scalding Tarn deck, barring Lightning Bolt. Green Star should be good. Today is a strange day, let me tell ya. Well, Dark Confidant sticking at least is nice. Darn. Basic Mountain, not snow-covered, not even snow-covered island. I have no idea what this deck is still. It could be the blue-red control deck, in which case maybe we should be afraid of Blood Moon. It could also still be the Electro Dominance deck with As Foretold. Today is just a wacky day. Green source, please. There we go. Alright, well, the opponent has lots of open mana. That seems like a good time to cast a Bloodbraid Elf. Inquisition or Thoughtseize would be good because I would love to know what's up here. Let's return a Bob and have the opponent discard. Get our 3-for-1 here. Hopefully. Another basic island. Right, so Force of Negation, I guess that almost rules out the Electro Dominance deck. I'm not sure that they play those anymore. More likely just blue-red control. In which case I'm pretty scared of a Blood Moon, but there's like absolutely nothing I could do to play around that right now. Green fetch would be nice. Well, that's good too. That makes me want to just deploy Renin 6, because then I have another powerful thing to do with my mana, assuming Renin 6 gets countered. Also, I only have a single green right now, so playing Tracker into Renin 6 isn't really an option. So, do I want to just do this now to get around Kolaghan's... Sorry, to get around another hard cast Force of Negation and or Cryptic Command? Probably. So, I'll have the opponent discard a card and I'll return the Bloodbraid. I could upkeep this, but that opens me up to the Cryptic that I'm worried about. Like, they could force me now, but they'd at least have to pitch their last card to do it. Alright, so yeah, they're just straight blue-red, it looks like. I mean, I've whittled down their cards pretty well. I've got good follow-ups as well. Just gonna have to hope nothing ridiculous like a Blood Moon happens. Maybe I get Pestermite Kiki-Jiki'd. Alright, well the opponent has open mana, so that's always a good time to cast the Bloodbraid. Liliana would be nice. Ooze fine too, but I'm still choked on green. Having a board presence at least makes me more comfortable to not just die to a Blood Moon. Uh-oh. Are they going to bolt my Ooze too? Yeah, this no green situation is so awkward. Alright, well, I don't want them killing both of my creatures. Let's Fatal Push this. I'm also just not going to have a much better target. Like, their plan was probably, like, block a thing, bolt the other thing. Them killing the attacking creature makes me think that they just got another answer to the Ooze, because Ooze is probably the better creature versus the opponent, given that they're a Snapcaster deck. Yeah, another Snapcaster makes sense. But yeah, this has been really strange. Need a green fetch. I mean, green land, I'll do it. I will accept it. Can't really play around Mana Leak if I want to have the hope of getting the clue here. Let's just say no, get my clue. Alright, is there a reason to sacrifice the clue now? Does 3 toughness matter? If the opponent's playing something like Electrolyze, then it does matter. And Dreadboard's a sorcery. Let's just sacrifice this now. I'm not gonna block the Snapcaster, especially now since I've drawn Push and I just don't have another good target for that ever. I'll take my hit for 2. The opponent having another land is good for us. It's not a spell. And now we have almost no bad draws, which is a good feeling. Tracker does that. Bob's a really good one. Get this thing out of the way. Alright, we're not afraid of a Snapcaster ambushing this tracker because we sacrificed our clue. Snap Opt would be annoying, but otherwise fine. I may end up popping this Peatland. I don't actually need a lot of green right now, and the card could be worth it, but I mean, pretty much anything being a good, like literally anything being a good draw is also making me want to sack this Peatland. Bounce, draw, yeah. Drew a bolt? Oh my god, what? That's the nuts. Holy moly. I mean, we could lose to that. I really needed a threat to stick here. Alright, well, they're getting Cryptic back. We still have a window to play our tracker, though, which means I'm very confident in sacrificing this peatland now. Like, if I find a fetch land, like, I can get a 2-for-1 off of that. Yeah, that's good. Another land is less good. Why did I tap 4? Whoa, that was weird. Is it bugged? Interesting. Oh. Oh, okay. Alright, well, I know they're drawing Cryptic. If I sack the clue, they could, like, bounce my tracker in response. Let's just have this sacrificed now. We'll get more green. Oh, that was... Oh, my God, I'm so stupid. That should have been Basic Forest. I said it half a second too late. Because, again, they could be playing Blood Moon. I know they're drawing Cryptic now, but it could still be bad going forward. Oh, what's up? What's up, Dalton? I think that's Dalton, right? Alright, you have Cryptic, sack a clue. Let's not get blown out by this Cryptic. Alright, fetch land's fine. That's another divination. Get some clues. Let's sacrifice a clue so we attack for more. I know they've got Cryptic. Liliana's nice. If they bounce my Tireless Tracker, that would be a good window to stick a Liliana. If it's the list you play, it's 2 Moon. Alright, well, they've got the Cryptic. I'm not going to just slam a Liliana into it, because then they're just going to, like, counterbounce my tracker, and that seems like it's really bad for me. Bounce draw. Terminate my own thing so they don't draw a card. Well, I'm playing fast and loose. Should have sacked. Alright, so they've got 2 cards. Sack a clue. This could be worth a counter on the tracker, but I think I'd rather just have the card density going into the next turn. Alright, Inquisition's a good one. Hopefully clear the way. Yep. Alright, it's a land. Pretty good for me. Alright, so tracker. Landfall. Liliana. And the lands are actually just better than these useless removal spells. So I'll discard the Terminate because, like, maybe I want to kill a Jace with the Dreadbore. And then I'll sacrifice this now just to guarantee the clue, and I'll get the Forest now that I'm not being stupid about it. If you were the opponent, you'd scoop. Maybe there's something stupid that I don't know about that they could have. They did top with that. But I mean, Liliana is going to make it hard on them. Alright, well, more fetch is not exactly what I want to see. They're all clues though. Tracker is doing tracker things. I'm just going to discard this other Verdant now. I could sack a clue first, so I have the option of discarding something else, but it doesn't seem great. Petty Theft. Sure. I'll discard the Verdant. Let's replay the tracker. I'll even sacrifice the clue now, because, like, maybe I draw another 2-drop that I want to play. Like that. Alright, I can also sacrifice now pretty freely, make sure I get another clue. Green, red. I would have tapped differently had I had the Terminate in hand, but I kept the Dreadbore in fear of a Jace. Obviously, the opponent having exactly Raisin Borrower makes this look a little worse. And I'll sack another clue now just so my thing can't get bolted. Like, I want to sacrifice the clue at end step anyway, so let's just avoid the situation of getting blown out. And I'm feeling pretty good from here. Like they could like flash and Brazen Borrower. Like if they draw a way to like kill my tracker or bounce my tracker, that could be annoying. But I mean, I've got two answers to the Brazen Borrower in play. There's not a lot that I'm scared of. Like the opponent could like Jace bounce, and like I'm still pretty ahead. It's a blue-red control. Brutality going to be good for taking things like Cryptic, Archmage's Charm, and really any counter. Bolt we saw kills most of their stuff. It's pretty possible that Bolt is just better than Fatal Push. The only way Fatal Push I think could be better is if they're playing Thing in the Ice. So I think I like the Bolts. They also just go after Planeswalkers. So I'll probably do a 2-2 split, and I'll revert on that if we see Thing in the Ice. Don't think I like to Terminate a whole lot. I'll keep the Dreadmore for the Planeswalkers. They're a Snapcaster deck, so I think I like the Spell Bombs. It's probably worth it to bring in the Ashiok just because they are a Snapcaster deck and a Mystic Sanctuary deck. This has us needing 6 cuts. Against the control decks, I usually don't like just the generic beaters, but since the opponent is just blue-red, it's pretty likely they have a hard time dealing with Tarmogoyf, so I think I'm going to keep it. It's pretty possible that they just have no good targets for Fatal Push, so let's just take those out. I like Liliana Last Hope. Liliana of the Veil is weaker on the draw. Like Kiki combo, yeah, I'm gonna be wary of Kiki combo. Fatal Push is a reason to it is something I would keep in if they're Kiki combo, but we didn't see any pieces of that. We saw like a third of their deck. I need 3 more cuts. I like the Oozes versus the for the same reason I like the Ashiok. Honestly, I like all of these cards versus the opponent. I'll cut like one Wrenn and 6. Really like the Bobs. They are worse on the draw, so maybe I cut one of those. Against the control decks, though, they're just way too good. I need 2 more cuts. Yeah, honestly, I don't know. Maybe like Kiki plays non-boil mana base. The opponent had a plethora of basic islands, so I don't think they're playing that version. I'll cut an Ooze and I'll cut maybe Brutality. Like I've already got lots of Inquisitors and Thoughtseizes. Like there's probably not a reason to go super high on that effect. Yeah, his hand's fine. It's soft-ish to Blood Moon, but otherwise pretty strong. Green fetch wouldn't be bad. Inquisition also pretty excellent. I could fetch basic Swamp now, so that way I have the option of fetching basic Forest next turn. I mean, if they have the Moon, I'm likely to just take it because it's so much of a headache long run. Alright, no Moon yet. Bolt takes care of the Dark Confidant, which is very annoying. Aether Gust is really not even that good versus me. Like, if they're gonna Gust a Bloodbraid, I'll put it on top. I'll probably end up just taking the Bolt because it's the most annoying versus the Bob. Remand also, like, supremely annoying, though. But if they remand me, then Archmage's Charm then counters the Bob. It's probably best to just take the remand and either Inquisition or Thoughtseize them again before playing the Bob, or just holding on to the Bob. Like this remand digging them towards action and buying them time seems really bad. Not the basic I wanted. This might be the only good window I have to get a basic Swamp out of the deck, but I really want to be able to get this Ravine down. I think I'll take the 1-turn risk. I don't think I'm going to be wanting to sacrifice Spellbomb this turn, which would be another reason to play the Bloodstained Mire. There's like nothing that I'm worried about them snapping back, so I'll just get the Ravine down and hope that their next turn isn't the Blood Moon turn. Alright, Steam Vents makes me more comfortable. Again, given knowing we had the basic mountain, it's pretty unlikely in their Archmage's Charm Cryptic deck that they're going to Blood Moon me off of a single island. I'll play that one, just because if they do end up Blood Mooning me, now I have a way to get basic green. Draw step? Oh, yeah. Why would I draw step opt? That's weird. Alright, I'm going to be playing Bloodbraid. I'll sacrifice this to get basic force to take a land out of the deck. The opponent cannot Archmage's Charm right now. Brutality is a nice hit that can possibly clear the way for the Dark Confidant, but this just looks like a good turn to Bloodbraid. They have Archmage's Charm down now, so if we cascade into something good like a Liliana, they'll be hopefully hard-pressed to answer it. Like it's still a Force of Negation or something. Doubt they're going to Aether Gust it. And if they bolt this, maybe that helps the Brutality clear the way for the Bob. Alright. Alright, and they used a different color. They used a different art Lightning Bolt, so I know they've still got a Lightning Bolt. Yeah, it was probably just like a misclick, or they just didn't know they were in their draw step. Yeah, pretty nice. The opponent is letting me know they've got another bolt. That's the danger of playing the mismatched arts, is you have to remember which one you have to which one you revealed. All right, more lands are pretty horrid, but we've got some redraws in play. So like no matter what I do here, they're always gonna have an answer to the Bob, but the extra information is probably good. Like, I know this is hitting something at least. Okay. So do I just play the Bob into the Bolt now? It would make them use it. I probably won't, as long as I have Spell Bombs to sacrifice, and it's looking like I'm going to sacrifice a Spell Bomb at my opponent's end step. And I'll play the Bloodstained Mire in case I want to fetch my other swamp. I see no reason to play the Bob into the answer that I know about. Like, if I play a Liliana, I can get the opponent's hand empty before I deploy it. Alright, there's a Jace. Something I hadn't thought about is it's possible I wanted to run out the Bob just to bait out the Lightning Bolt, because then it opens up a potential for the Ravine to get in. And I am playing Lightning Bolt in the deck, I believe. Yeah, I am. So I almost want to sacrifice a Spell Bomb in response here, because if I draw a Bolt, I can possibly get Jace off the table. Ashiok. We'll let that resolve. Do I sack other Spell Bomb in an attempt to do the same thing? I think the other Spell Bomb is probably worth more later, but having Ashiok makes the other Spell Bomb lose some value. So let's just try to spike the Bolt again. If I hit it, great, and if I don't, oh well. Alright, well, Inquisition I can hopefully pair with my Dark Confidant. And if they don't have a Bolt or a second land here, I could also just Inquisition, possibly clear the way that way for the Ravine, and then the Ravine can attack down the Jace. Or we can just draw Dreadbore. I do like getting the Ravine out of range of future Lightning Bolts. They're always going to have the Aether Gust, but I like casting Inquisition, especially after Brainstorm. They do only have one Bolt. So I guess I'll just take the Bolt and then use this turn to attack down the Jace. If I Dreadbore the Jace, they can Spell Snare it, and that seems pretty bad for me. So I'll just take the pseudo 0 for 1 to kill the Jace. Well, I guess they drew a card off of it already. Kill the Jace, get it out of gust range. Or sorry, bolt range. It's always in gust range. But yeah, getting Jace down is pretty comforting. And then this turn is probably going to be led on an Ashiok, to which they'll probably remand. And then I'll probably just want to stick it again. Again, like my first 2 mana play just gets spell snared. I imagine this is getting remanded, and then I'll try it again. Unless they draw Force or a Archmage's Charm, it should resolve. I'll keep the Verdant in hand for potential draws of Tireless Tracker. Or if I like draw Liliana of the Veil and want a plus, I'll probably want to keep the Peatland in play to sacrifice later. Alright, it resolved. Pretty nice. And I think the first minus is free. I just really, really hope the card I don't know about is Snapcaster. Of course it is. The one card that they drew off of the remand. That's really bad for me, because now they get to kill the Ashiok. I needed them to not draw a Snapcaster there. That was definitely worst case. They still have all of these goodies. I mean, I'm going to go for the Dreadbore on the Snapcaster, and then if for some reason they counter it, then I can stick a Bob. I mean, I doubt they counter it, though. Snapcaster just doesn't matter long run. Big draw step. Like, if I can hit, like, a Bloodbraid or a Tracker, yeah, that ain't going to do it. I could save this for a future Jace, but they're just going to have the Spell Snare. Let's see if we can get something good off of this. They got a lot of good hits. Another land is not one of them. Remanda's gone, my bad. Alright, I could activate Ravine. That probably draws out the Aether Gust. Thoughtseize isn't bad. It's possible they don't have a second answer. Have another Snapcaster, though. Oh, geez, and 2 Gusts. Alright, well, I mean, Snapcaster is the best card by a lot. If I take the Snare and play the Dark Confidant, they just snap the Snare. Alright, well, I mean, if I draw Inquisition or Thoughtseize, I can maybe pair it with the Dark Confidant to get that in, so I don't think I'm just going to throw it into their Snare right now. They've drawn pretty well, and I've drawn a lot of lands. Come on, deck. Alright, we did it. We got a good one. Not bad. This might mean that we can stick the Dark Confidant as well, which would be big game. They had a Force of Negation. Well, luckily that one doesn't answer Dark Confidant, so we'll take the Snare here. Alright, so their hand was Gust, Gust, Force. Alright, and then we've been rewarded for holding on to this Dark Confidant for so long. Could have played it as early as turn 2, right? But now we actually get to play it, and it's ideally going to remain uncontested. And I'll hold the land in my hand in case I draw a Tracker. They'll probably just Gust the Tracker off of the stack, but you never know. Alright, they drew a Tarn. We're going to get a Bob Trigger. Hell yeah. Alright, we're pulling ahead now. Hopefully. Bolt not the worst. Bolt not the worst. I could activate the Ravine, but they'll just Gust it. I see no reason to do that. Let's just get an attack in. We know they can't flash in a Snapcaster and blow us out, so let's get in for 5. And again, I see no reason to play the land. Let's just pass. All right, let me all right, so these are the cards that the opponent knows I have. I guess I'll put that here. All right, we're getting another trigger with Bob. That feels good. Goyf they know about, and another Inquisition. All right. Well, now I am pretty afraid of a Snapcaster, and we know the Inquisition is hitting something, so let's just lead on it. If they flash in a Snapcaster, I'll probably attack with, well, I guess I can bolt it and then attack both. Wow, the opponent's good at drawing Snapcaster, but luckily I've played around it a little bit. All right, so we know the rest of the hand. I do want to get an attack in, so let's Lightning Bolt the Snapcaster. Is that the fourth Snapcaster? I think there's an exiled one. No, it's just the third one. All right, they're gonna cast their force targeting that. Sure. So now they've got double gust. If they use a gust on second Lightning Bolt, I'm pretty happy about that. That also enables an attack with the Ravine. Alright, so we get to take a gust, leave him with a gust. And then not going to play the Goyf because they've got a Spell Snare active for this turn. But yeah, this Dark Confidant is being pretty excellent. Trigger number 3. Oh, we don't get a third trigger. Bob already won. Alright. On the board. After our unfortunate round 1. In round 1, we lost to Steel Shaper's Gift Hammer combo. Game 1, we kept a pretty good hand after the opponent revealed Lurrus, and then we just didn't have any spot removal. We had like a Red and 6 double Tarmogoyf hand, which was like pretty fine. And then game 2, we mulliganed to 5 and just didn't find any removal. We had like a 1-lander and 2 1-lander. Revealing Lurrus again. Well, I like this hand. Maybe we'll play against Steel Shaper's Gift again. Get our revenge. Alright, I could just get basic here. I think I will because there's the non-zero chance the opponent is playing some kind of hyper aggro deck, especially given Lurrus. This takes away the ability to play Ren and 6 on 2, but... Oh, Bogles. They only got 1 creature. Let's take it. Alright. They'll draw another one. Have no fear. Windslip Teeth. Alright, they didn't draw another one immediately. That's good. Ooze. Ooze is pretty good, just because it's something we get to do. It can also start mitigating the effect of Lurrus. They've got Path, but that'll ramp us into our Bloodbraid on 3. Assuming they use it, now. Sunpetal Grove, not super common. Alright, so... I've got 2 black spells. I don't think I'm fetching another basic, so if I get Forest now and then I get Blood Crypt, my mana is pretty perfect. Temple Garden, one of the newer pickups. Alright, let's play a turn 3 Bloodbraid. Inquisition's pretty strong, but we know the opponent doesn't have another threat yet. Yeah, Bogles and Infect are pretty brave. Infect saw Spike in play not too long ago. But yeah, let's slam a Bloodbraid Elf. Try to get on the board here. Ideally, we're hitting another threat here. We know the opponent can answer the next one. So, like, we want, like, a Tarmogoyf or a Bob. Liliana Last Hope's fine. It's not really going to buy back a creature, though. Especially because the removal is Path to Exile based. I'll want the Mountain if I draw exactly Seasoned Pyromancer, but if I draw something like Liliana of the Veil and I want a double spell, I'm going to prioritize the Swamp. The chances I draw a black spell are much higher than I draw the one Seasoned Pyromancer. Alright, Lurrus is in the hand. That means that this is a good opportunity to cast Inquisition. Make sure they can't buy back their Bogle. Another land, not great. Alright, this looks like a pretty easy Lurrus grab. I could minus and hope to spike a creature, but I might win with an ultimate. Who knows? I'm very weak to just another Bogle. I'm playing Tracker, so that's a reason to keep the land in play. Just lead on sacrificing that. It's more lands. Alright, maybe we win with the Last Hope. The opponent still has a pretty good window to draw a creature. Like here, next turn would be pretty backbreaking. I mean, another land isn't a creature. Spirit Dance, right? That's one that I can kill. I'm definitely going to respond to the first aura. Especially the Totem Armor. Alright, Hyena Umbra down. And again, I'm playing Tracker, reason to keep the land in play. Ravine is at least a threat. Alright, we're gonna emblem a Liliana Last Hope. I mean, this Liliana is strictly worse in the matchup. So given that we have our threat now, I think I'm just going to sacrifice the Peatland, because if we draw something to play, I'll probably want to play it, like that. This can buy back a Peatland. And go. They drew the thing. I mean, we're going to be able to block it forever, but the opponent's going to have their Daybreak Coronet going. Kolaghan's Command. Well, we can have them discard the Kolaghan's Command. Let's emblem this. I suppose I should have... I could have sacrificed Peatland first just to get more info. There's the Tracker. I think I want to have the opponent discard this Coronet, though, because they don't actually have access to a way to apply First Strike if they don't have the Coronet. So I think I'm going to have the opponent discard a card here. And then I'll just get... The other mode, I guess, will just be 2 to them. Yeah, I probably would have played the Daybreak Coronet just for this reason. Like, if I draw a Liliana or a Kolaghan's Command, I can force it out of their hand. Alright. Make 1 or 2 zombies. I don't even remember. I think it's X plus 2? Yeah, X plus 2. Nice. So the strictly worse Liliana got there. Alright, so Bogles. With Lurrus. Honestly, there's not a whole lot that I want to sideboard here. Like, I could bring in Spellbomb as a way to fight Lurrus, which might be worth it. It's also just a redraw. Unless they've got Leyline of Sanctity. Necromentia, not exactly where I want to be. I could bring in Bolt as another answer to the Core Spirit Dancer, but that one only answers it if I target it on the first spell, because then it'll outsize the Bolt. I could bring in Brutality for a similar reason to Bolt, but like Brutality can also hit like stuff like Path to Exile. It's kind of close, but I honestly don't think I even want to sideboard here. Like the spot removal spells are really bad, so like maybe for that reason I should just like take some of those out, and like maybe Bolt is just strictly better. Yeah, I can give that a go. This is 62. I need to cut 2 more. Do I have any more spot removal? I can probably cut some pushes. Like, they're only going to be good for killing exactly, like, Dryad Arbor or the Core Spirit Dancer, which there aren't a whole lot of. Yeah, maybe I should just cut another push. I don't want to be super soft to the Core Spirit Dancer, but I still do have plenty of outs to it. Liliana, the Veil, and Fatal Push, the main ones. Even Lightning Bolt if again I can snag the first one. I just think Bolt is on average going to be more alive than Fatal Push. Bolt can at least go to face, barring a Leyline. Well, this hand would be good with lands. Ship. Well, if they don't have Leyline, this hand's very good. But if they've got Leyline, we do nothing. I'm going to keep Inquisition. I'm going to keep Liliana. I should probably just bottom the Bloodbraid. I mean, it's my only good card if the opponent doesn't have the Leyline, but I don't think I'm beating Leyline if they've got it. Alright, and they don't. Alright, so that makes me happy. They kept a 7 without Leyline. That makes me think maybe they just don't have it, like, in the deck. But yeah, I'm hoping that these Inquisitions will target redundant creatures, because I need to keep the board empty for the Liliana to edict the one big thing. Alright, so again, I'm aiming at the extra creatures, most likely. Alright, they do have a second creature. They've got Pithing Needle as well. That's pretty bad for me. If they blind name Liliana of the Veil, which I'm assuming they will, then Liliana no longer becomes a creature. But the Liliana plan is countered by the second creature anyway. So I think I'm just going to have to hope that they don't blind name it. Alright, well, if they don't have a land, then they're not going to be Pithing Needling, which gives me a window to Inquisition it. They drew the Leyline. Interesting that they have Leyline in deck. Maybe they thought their hand was just too good to mulligan to it. But yeah, let's take the Pithing Needle and open up the possibility for Liliana being good next turn. And I'll Overgrown Tomb tap, and the next turn I can play Blackleaf Cliffs, keeping the fetch for potential trackers. So worst case scenario now is the opponent draws another 1-mana threat. If they don't, I think I'm in a good spot. Excellent. That's the game. As much as I don't want to technically see an Uro deck, I do want to test this version versus Uro, so I hope I find it. Sounds great. Steam Vents. Steam Vents shocked? That could mean anything. It's probably just an opt, or they want to hold up a bolt. Could also be a Electro Dominance deck pitching a Spirit Guide. I hope it's not that. The hairs on my neck are sticking up, though. Okay, it is just an opt. Whew. Maybe blue-red control again? Oh, it's Storm. Well, it sounds pretty good versus Storm. They're going to have turn 2 creature no matter what I do. So it's possible I should just take the Gifts Ungiven as the most powerful card. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Like, I could take the Baral and then hope to have the Liliana Edict the other one. But the Gifts is going to be the card that ultimately kills me. Storm, I think, is a pretty good matchup, but being on the draw without a spot removal spell makes it worse. Alright, and I want to find additional disruption before I play a Beat Stick, so I'll play the Dark Confidant first. And then hope I don't die. Spire Bluff was the new one. Alright, they're going for it. They have a few hits that essentially kill me. Another Gifts would do it. Empty the Warrens at this stage would be pretty hard as well. Alright, and they split the difference top and bottom with the scrying. Alright, so Inquisitions and Thoughtseizes would be nice. Bloodbraid, not exactly. I think I have to Liliana minus here. They do have a second copy, but at least that ties up 2 mana and casting the Baral. And then I think getting Forest here is pretty free. Really want to avoid a Remand, but there's really not much I can do to get around that. Alright, they did scry 1 to the top. I doubt that's what they kept. Okay, alright, well, Liliana gets to start plussing, which is good. We revealed the Swamp. Alright, let's lead on the plus. Want the opponent to discard with minimal information. Verdant is worse than Bloodstained Mire because I have not yet gotten the basic mountain out of the deck. If I ever want it to be like as painless as possible, there's a chance I want to get the basic. Alright, so they pitched the Baral. So their hand is Ritual +2. I could tap out for the Bloodbraid here. I mean, the opponent knows that, as far as Jund is concerned, they're basically green-lighted to combo if it's their turn and I'm not holding up removal for the Reducer. I guess they figure that Baral is just kind of bad because I've got the Liliana in play anyway. I think what's going to happen here is I'm going to attack for 2 and then I'm going to turn up the heat by playing 2 creatures. I could put myself in danger to dying to a natural Grape Shot if I lose too much more life. So maybe I should go for the higher upside play, which is Bloodbraid into another interaction spell. It doesn't actually change my clock by a whole lot. Like if I go Tarmogoyf, Dark Confidant, I'll be attacking for 2 now, putting the opponent to 14. And then next turn, I'm attacking for 4, 6, 8 plus 11. That's not quite lethal. We're still off by 3. I almost want to just play the Bloodbraid. If this hits another creature too, like that's also just fine. I think I've talked myself into Bloodbraiding because I really don't want to just die to a natural Grape Shot. Alright, Inquisition. Perfect. This was the ceiling of this play, with only Thoughtseize being potentially better. Alright, well, the opponent has 4 mana sources. If I take the Baral, they can't cast gifts anyway without another ritual, so let's just take the ritual. Because, like, the bottleneck right now does seem to be mana. And then if they can't really play the Baral either, because then the Liliana will just take care of it. Alright, so ritual gone. I'm going to go to attack for 5. Alright, then Liliana is going to do pretty well here. I'm still afraid. Like, the opponent can very easily just cast gifts end of turn and attempt to go off. Inquisition or Thoughtseize would be a really big pickup here. Perfect. Alright, so now I'm going to plus... I guess I should Inquisition first, because if I plus now and the opponent discards Baral, I can't actually cast Inquisition because it doesn't hit anything. So I believe I should lead on the Inquisition. Because then when I plus the Liliana of the Veil and the gifts in response, they're going to have to discard one of their 2 cards. So now we can plus this. So they'll cast gifts targeting me, which makes sense. And then if they bin something like a Past in Flames, I can then shock in a Stomping Ground and have a green up for the Scavenging Ooze. Alright, so... I'm pretty sure I'm taking the Past in Flames, because again, I can exile it with the Scavenging Ooze. I can give them Ritual. Their bottleneck is no longer mana. Now their bottleneck is cards. So I think if I bin the Manamorphose and the Past in Flames, and I can eat the Past in Flames with the Ooze, I should be in a pretty good spot. So put 2 cards in the opponent's graveyard. Past in Flames, Morphos. I'll discard the Mire. There goes the Pyretic Ritual, so they have only Desperate Ritual. And then I can shock this in, play the Scavenging Ooze, eat the Past in Flames, and that should be game. Yeah, cool. So Storm. Spellbomb going to be good for fighting the graveyard. Ashiok is going to be great for fighting the graveyard, and also turning off the... never remember the name of it. Past in Flames. Sorry, not Past in Flames. Well, also Past in Flames, but Gifts Ungiven. Necromentia is actually a nice experimental include. Brutality is going to be also quite good, as will Lightning Bolt for killing the mana reducers. And I think I'm just going to take out most of my slower stuff. Dreadbore definitely on the slow side. Terminate is probably just worse than the Lightning Bolts. Renin 6 really isn't killing a whole lot. I'm going to take out 1 top-end card just because I don't really want to be tapping out a whole lot. Liliana Last Hope isn't really going to be super effective. This has me needing to cut 4. I don't like Kolaghan's Command as much. It doesn't kill a whole lot. The most relevant mode is probably just going to be opponent discards a card at instant speed, which is fine, but for 3 mana I think there are stronger effects. Yeah, everything else looks pretty solid. Maybe I should like cut down on a Fatal Push, because like the only mode this has is kill a reducer, and I've got lots of ways to do that. Then I don't think I want to take anything else out. Maybe it's Seasoned Pyromancer. Like, Pyromancer can help me find the important stuff, but it is just the slowest threat. Everything else does its job extremely well. Like, Seasoned Pyromancer is the only, like, out of the cards I have, it's like the one card that, like, doesn't do something super impactful other than finding anything else. Like, I'd rather just have the anything else in my hand. So this seems fine to me. The opponent is kept, it looks like. Yeah, so this hand is iffy. We've got the kill spell for the reducer, we've got the Dark Confidant, we've got the Grave Hate. Probably good enough. The land situation is on the awkward side. This hand would love an Inquisition or a Thoughtseize. Like, if I draw Inquisition or Thoughtseize, I might just lead on it. This is the dig for a thing spell. Yeah. Blackleaf Cliff's not bad. That lets me play Spellbomb on 1. So what I'm afraid of right now is a early Empty the Warrens, which is a reason why I want to draw something like Inquisition, Thoughtseizes, or even a Collective Brutality. But yeah, my turn 2 play is almost definitely going to be Dark Confidant. I want to keep the disruption rolling, and I don't think we're at the stage of the game quite yet where I need to deploy just like a generic beat stick. Alright, Thoughtseize is really good though. The opponent might be playing something like Pieces of the Puzzle. For that reason, it might be advantageous to play the Thoughtseize, especially considering the opponent might be representing a Lightning Bolt. I think I like the play of Thoughtseize, because then if I see a Reducer in the opponent's hand, I can then cast a Fatal Push on it. But I do want to get the Ravine down now, so I can double spell with Push and like Bob or something next turn. I do have many threats, so it's entirely possible I should be playing a threat now and then trying to save the Thoughtseize for a closer to combo turn. I do like that idea, at least in theory. So if I'm playing a creature, what's it going to be? They all die to Lightning Bolt at this stage, so the highest upside play is, I think, just deploying the Dark Confidant, so I'll do that. And again, they could have the Bolt here, which would be a tempo negative play, but so is Thoughtseize, and Thoughtseize is going to be better for the pre-combo turn. Alright, and Bob Living makes me very happy that I played the Bob. If I find untapped land, I can then Thoughtseize and deploy another threat, which would be great. They went top with the Scries. If this is a Reducer, then I'm pretty happy with how this is going. I should probably be worried about Blood Moon, but the opponent would be locking themselves out at this stage too, and there's just not much that I can do to get around it. They're popping that? Alright, well, I don't get the card off of it, but I can at least get these 2 cards out of the opponent's yard. I almost like just killing the Dark Confidant there. I would have probably just killed the Bob. Unless they know that like their way to go off is through the graveyard. But I mean, my hand is pretty strong, especially if you let me keep going with the Dark Confidant. Alright, we drew Blackleaf Cliff. So there's the untapped land. That's going to allow me to double spell here. Although, playing the Ravine means I can have the Scavenging Ooze with multiple green next turn. But I mean, these Blackleaf Cliffs come in tapped if I don't play them now. So I should probably just go towards the double spell route. I guess I could Thoughtseize first and really get a feel for what I should be doing here. Alright, so they've got double Baral, Gifts Ungiven, Pyretic Ritual, and Serum Visions, and they topped with their Scry. I think I'm probably just going to take the gifts here. I mean, I could take the Baral because now that I have the second answer, I can cut them off of their Reducers completely, but Gifts is going to be able to find another one, and again, it is the card that's ultimately going to kill me. So, do I want to hold up a Fatal Push and play the Ravine, or do I want to deploy second threat? The opponent kind of hinted that their plan was largely graveyard oriented, so that makes me want to play Scavenging Ooze. It doesn't hit that much softer than the Tarmogoyf as well. Definitely playing Blackleaf Cliffs. So like what am I afraid to off of the top of the library that we know they put on top? Like if they go Baral, leaving up Spire Bluff Canal, they can then Ritual up to 3 red mana, but that doesn't actually get them anywhere. I think I'm probably pretty safe just deploying another threat here, and I think it's going to be the one that can interact with the graveyard. Again, I am in the position where I do want to put lots of pressure on the opponent and start closing, but at the same time, I want to make it harder for them to kill me. So, like, the decision between Goyf and Ooze there I don't think is super trivial, but I do like just making it harder for them to combo. There's a Baral. Alright, so they can Ritual here, but that doesn't exactly do anything for them. Dark Confidant going off again, revealing Ashiok. That's so good here. Alright, well, the opponent could have Remand. which would be something they potentially put on top. So I definitely think I'm going to be leading on Fatal Push. And if they remand it, then I could just stick the Ashiok instead. What's up, Nick? I actually got to go get some water, so thanks for reminding me. So I can tap out for the Verdant, which puts down the Ooze, but they do a similar job anyway, so it's probably pretty okay that I'm putting down the Ooze activation. And I think I will just go ahead and do this, and I'll get Basic Forest so I have more green for Ooze moving forward. And I've already got double black, right? Yeah, I've got Peatland and a Blackleaf Cliff, so Forest is pretty free here. Alright, we'll minus on the opponent. We hit Past in Flames pieces. So that was a pretty good blind hit. I mean, I think I'm minusing anyway, just for the factor of getting the opponent's graveyard empty. But yeah, this is going pretty well. Like I said, I think this is a pretty good matchup. I've played against some pretty good Storm players before, and I've just straight lost. But I think Storm is harder than most people give credit. All right, big empty. Well, big empty is only, there's only 8 of them. Not a lot of food for the Ooze as it sits. I could start milling myself, though, in hopes of hitting some creatures to mill. Or hitting some creatures to eat. Which I think is the play. Because my life total is definitely a concern. And I do want to be able to eat some stuff. Alright, we've got two points of life ready to go. I think I'm going to be playing the Ravine here. What's up, Arc Magician? Thanks for the follow. Alright, so I'm not going to play second Bob for sure. And I do want to defend versus all the various creatures the opponent has going. So I think the turn is going to be pretty simple. Play a Ravine, play a Tarmogoyf, hold up a Fatal Push. There's not much better that the Fatal Push is going to be killing. And Baral actually has some value because of the clause of they get to loot. So I think I probably want to just get the Baral out of here while I can. I don't think timing matters a whole lot, but I don't want them remanding it, so maybe it does matter. Alright, so Tarmogoyf, Ravine, go. And if they attack with the goblins, I'll probably just block with the Bob. Like they can push 5 damage here, but that doesn't mean a whole lot. They're just going at me. Okay, so let's block a bunch of them. And if they try to like grape shot my Scavenging Ooze to finish it off, I can lose a life to gain a life and put a counter on it. As it stands, though, I don't think I'm going to lose a life to gain a life. I'm just going to gain as much as possible, so I'm not going to pay the life to eat a creature here. Alright, another land, obviously not fantastic. Let's gain the life now. They could potentially be playing Lightning Bolt, so let me like not get caught off guard. Then if they like Lightning Bolt it in response to this, I have the green to eat something again. And then am I in the position where I want to start attacking? Glyph is a 5/6. It's pretty large. So the opponent can attack me for as much as 5. If I block 1, I'm taking 4. Which means I do die to Bolt. So I think I have to hold back again. Because I would have to I would have to stay at 7, and I don't want to die to a Bolt. So I should probably just hold off. Do I want to activate Ashiok for any reason? It already still dies to Lightning Bolt, so I should probably just minus on myself again. The odds it grows Glyph are pretty small, but I do want more food to gain more life off of my Ooze, so I think there is value in minusing on myself. Because like any creature hitting the yard is straight upside. This is game 2, Arc Magician, and we won the first game. Alright, and we hit 2 more creatures, so pretty good. I should play this Blackleaf Cliffs. And again, I don't want to die to a Bolt, so I'm not going to attack. I'm out of Bolt range as soon as I gain 1 more life. Pieces is scary. They found the Flame Slash. Alright, well, Flame Slash doesn't actually kill anything. Alright, they kept not Flame Slash, not Pyretic. They kept Sleight of Hand and the Morphos. Makes sense, because, like, their bottleneck right now is, resources in the quantity of cards. So they're just keeping the redraws, it looks like. And again, I'm not going to lose a life to gain a life. I'd rather just gain the life. And I don't think I'm quite in the I can't really even attack yet now either. Still can't. Is that a lie? So, I mean, I do have to get the opponent dead at some point, right? And I've got Tracker in the deck, so I'm not going to play any lands frivolously. I could just sacrifice the Peatland now, see if I hit something good. And I've got lots of green left over, so I like sacrificing Peatland now. I could hit like a good thing to cast. And that's a good thing to cast. I guess I can fetch for a basic Swamp as a consideration of Blood Moon, and then I can like leave up a green, cast the Bloodbraid. Sacrificing puts me down to 6, which means if they attack all, I can block 3, taking 2, which means 4. That's just 4. I'm not dead to bolt that way. So I think I'm probably casting this Bloodbraid here. And then between which fetch is worse, I've got Basic Forest, so that means Verdant is worse. It doesn't get Mountain anymore. So we'll leave up Green Source, spin the wheel. Tracker, cool. Played the land already, but I mean, this was the downside of playing the land first. Do I want to minus the Ashiok? If they're going to suicide their goblins into the Ashiok, I'm pretty happy with that. And I really don't want them to have a ridiculous turn with the Past in Flame, so it's probably worth just minusing. And again, I should probably do it on myself, just so I have more things to eat with the ooze if I need it. Alright, we did not hit a creature that go around. Probably still fine, though. And again, if I attack with one thing, if I'm at 6, so I need to stay at 3 or higher. So I do actually live by blocking a good number of creatures. So let's hit with the Bloodbraid. You know what? Goyf hits harder. Let's do that one. It's like they can't really block this thing effectively. Yeah, they're just gonna take the smack. Makes sense. Slight. Yep. Serum. My namesake. Top bottom with that. Morphos into the thing they topped. Makes sense. I am afraid of just like another Empty the Horns. Okay. Are they gonna like try to natural grape shot me? That would be a way to go. Cool. Alright, they don't have it. So, outside of our pretty unfortunate match 1, we're doing pretty well. Undefeated since then. Even in games. Got a pretty decent crowd here right now, so I guess this is a good point to plug my content. If you're liking what you see, you should definitely drop a follow. It's a great free way to support what I do. And also, all of my leagues, such as this one, are recorded and posted on my YouTube channel. This is league number 49, so if you like Gen content, there are 48 leagues already recorded on my YouTube, mixed in with some extras like Shadow and Prowess. Alright, so let's go first. That seems like a good thing to do. Well, if we're playing against a slow deck, this hand is phenomenal. If we're not, then this hand's pretty bad. I think in the dark, on the play, I'm not going to mulligan a turn 2 Wrenn and 6 with the fetch, especially with such powerful top end. Like, if the opponent's playing an aggro deck, this hand is pretty horrid. But I mean, I think it's worth the risk. Like like going down to a less functional hand would feel really bad. The Trackers have felt pretty good. I I don't really have any complaints about them. Like they're more awkward when you have both of them in your starting hand, obviously. But all in all, they've felt pretty smooth. I think I've pretty close to won a game just because of the tracker against the blue-red control opponent. All right, well, Thoughtseize is like 100% taking this run in 6. If this is the mirror, this hand's excellent. They didn't reveal Lurrus, so it's not super likely to be Shadow, unless they're playing like the Street Wraith version. Alright, and I actually do want to draw more lands. Alright, it is the Street Wraith version. So yep, Shadow looks like. Interesting that they didn't cycle Street Wraith first. Just so they get more info. Like, if they know they're gonna do it anyway. Like, maybe they I guess they don't know that they're not playing against, like, a burn deck. So maybe they wanted to, like, Thoughtseize me before, like, potentially losing 2 life. Can I get another Wrenn and 6, though? That'd be nutty. There's 2 left. 2 and 52, 1 and 26. Not quite. Alright, so obviously we need lands. Thoughtseize on the Wrenn and 6 was pretty rough, clearly. Have a good one, Nick. Oh, you got the job? That's good to hear. Maybe Jund Shadow? Nice, nice. So I've got a pretty good chunk of good draws here. Unfortunately, my hand isn't really unlocked until I find a land. Yeah, Jund Shadow. This matchup should be pretty fine, I think, assuming I hit a land. Like Bloodbraid is a card that this deck probably has a rougher than average time beating. But I mean, we need to hit the lands. Like if we hit a red source, I'll probably just Pyromancer and discard the trackers. Not exactly what we're looking for. Yeah, the blue-red Prowess deck surprisingly isn't that expensive in paper, assuming you've got the lands already, which I guess means it's expensive. But yeah, like the Tarns and the Shocks can be up there, but the actual spells in the deck are surprisingly not that expensive. Like Swift Spears are $1 or $2, Soul Scars are a few dollars. The flying thing is like $1 or $2. Yeah, and Sprite is pennies. More Thoughtseizes, yeah. I got a full house. About to be downgraded to pair. To 2 pair. Oh, trips. Better than 2 pair. Alright, so I like need to find a Fatal Push here. But like I also need to find the land. Not great. I mean, if I can find a Fatal Push then hit Steamrolling lands, then I've got a pretty good shot. But if that doesn't happen, then I'm like in the doghouse. Liliana would be a good draw too, but I don't even have the lands for it. Hey, we hit a land. Best one too. You know, surgical me? No, they're not going to surgical me, because they would have taken a Bloodbraid if they were going to surgical me. Also, there's, like, they're probably not playing surgical in the main deck anyway. Tracker is good. Don't think I'm blocking. I want to avoid backup threats from the opponent. It's like, if I can answer the first one, then like I might actually be able to pull ahead with my hand. But if they're deploying extra threats, then I could be in trouble. I don't see a reason to block. Battle Rage doesn't quite kill me yet. If I can find a fetch land here, I actually think I might be ahead. Because I'm going Bloodbraid, and getting clues. Given I don't think I'm going to have a lot of time to crack the clues, but... 4-color Shadow. Okay. What is this? You're gonna Battle Rage it? Doesn't quite kill me. Okay, just getting Revolt, sure. Please, no Shadow as a follow-up. Because like I said, if I can answer this first thing, I might be able to pull ahead. Especially with, like, them being at 6. Not out of it yet. Shadow would be bad. If they play a Shadow, I'm pretty sure I just die. Alright, I just die. I could still Fatal Push this thing. Like, if I can Blood Braid into a spot removal spell, that would be a way that I win. Alright, well, that kills me. What would I Cascade into? Oh, no! Alright, so 4-color Shadow. Spell Bomb. Not Necromentia-ing. Cleansing Wildfire might be good. Let's see what else we want to take out. I never look. I looked. I'm sorry. That's my secret. I'm always tilted. Alright, so I definitely want to go down on the Hand Disruption. And then Thoughtseize is worse than Inquisition. They're just such bad top decks late game. I mean, they could still be good just to prevent a kind of combo kill. I like the creature package, though. Ooze tends to be pretty mana intensive, and like their graveyard doesn't matter a whole lot. Like if I can just keep them off of Delirium by eating like a couple things, that's probably good enough. And then Wrenn and 6 doesn't kill a whole lot. I don't think I'm bringing in Bolts. Don't think I'm bringing in Necromentia. Brutality has some merit just to take an instant or sorcery, but it doesn't seem like it's going to come up a whole lot. Ashiok also seems a bit slow. I definitely don't think I'm playing it on the draw, but on the play it might be okay. I still don't think so, though. It just doesn't do a whole lot other than stopping off searching. I mean, it takes him off Delirium, too, but I mean, I've got, like, Spellbomb that does that a lot better. Let's do this. Yeah? Yeah, I think that this matchup is probably fine. Obviously, we drew pretty awkwardly after getting our Wrenn and 6 Thoughtseized. Like, if we had that Wrenn and 6 on 2, I don't think we can lose. Alright, they are playing a Stubborn Denial and Kolaghan's Command. If I let them cast Inquisition, they're going to take the Terminate. But I mean, like, if I don't take if I take the Inquisition, I guess they'll just play the Goyf and then I get to terminate it. But that's worse if they hold up Stubborn Denial. Kolaghan's Command is also just like the multi for one. I don't think I can leave them with Inquisition and Tarmogoyf. I think it has to be one of those two because then I don't really have a clear answer to it. So I think it's definitely one of those two. And then if it's between the two, I guess it should just be the Inquisition, because that doesn't give them as much information or have a turn 1 play. It's just worse if they draw another Inquisition. Like, if I take the Tarmogoyf, they're going to Inquisition me and take my Terminate anyway, which is why I think it has to be one of the two. Yeah, I mean, it's less mana. It's less mana for me if I just take the Goyf here. Was like, and then I'd have to commit the Terminate to it, and also like that can mess up if they have their Stubborn Denial mana available. So I like taking the Goyf and just doing the no nonsense. All right, they didn't draw back up, so that's nice. They're not even Inquisitioning here. I guess they are. I guess they do want to pair it with something later. Ooh, Wrenn and 6 is really good, but they've got Stubborn Denial, which also might have been the consideration to not Inquisitioning here. So I'll go Verdant Pass. Yeah, they don't have a really good play. This Kolaghan's Command is going to just buy back the Goyf and 2-for-1 me, but it's kind of hard to take Kolaghan's Command when they have so many good plays beforehand. And I'm not jamming this Wrenn and 6 into the Stubborn Denial. I'll just hold up the Terminate. They might Inquisition me now because they can also hold up the Stubborn Denial. But yeah, this spot is okay. They don't actually have threats, but their Kolaghan's Command is eventually going to be a threat. Second mode on Kolaghan's Command will be weaker, assuming I get to resolve the Wrenn and 6. Makes sense. I guess I should get Stomping Ground here so I have max green for oozes, and like I also have plenty of black sources. Stomping Ground. Alright, so I would love a 2-mana threat here. Another land, not great. The opponent knows about peatlands. It's probably pretty free to just play the Mire anyway. It's worse if I draw Exactly Tracker. But I mean, we get to Bloodbraid next turn, barring a Thoughtseize, which is nice. They might be like saving the Verdant to Revolt to kill the Bloodbraid. Bobble, sure. Targeting themselves. Scry Trick, yeah, makes sense. Alright, it looks like they like their card. Overgrown Tomb. Draw your extra card. Yep. Yep. We have a lot of good draws here. We just don't want to see lands. Most other things we're happy to see. Bob's good. They've got a few answers to it right now. So I guess I'm just going to play the Bloodbraid. I mean, if it hits a good Cascade spell, they've got the Stubborn Denial, which is pretty unfortunate. But they kept a card on top, which I assume is a land or a threat. And if they play the land and Kolaghan's Command the Bob, that just seems like really bad news. Let's Bloodbraid. Like if it hits a non-creature spell and they Stubborn Denial it, at least they will have used the Stubborn Denial. Like Liliana resolving would be best case. Oh, I hit Fatal Push. Oh, it's the only like actual do nothing card other than like the Dread War, because Terminate is in hand. That was backbreaking. I really needed that to be a good spell. Probably just let this hit them. And at least our peatlands redraw. I kind of want them to Fatal Push this. Dismember? Yup. So if they fetch Shock, play a Shadow, they're going to have Stubborn Denial up. Which is pretty unfortunate. Yup. Probably just takes Terminate. They have so many good answers to the Dark Confidant right now. Makes sense. Please no Shadow is the last card I don't know about. Okay. A lot of good draws here. Lands are not one of them. Okay. I'll leave up double red in case I draw Pyromancer. Push is at least something. I don't think I can play the Bob into the Kolaghan's Command that I know about. It just seems too bad for me. Like they could also just push it. Like there's no good reason to do it right now. especially when the mana commitment for them is essentially costless. Push is a good find, but they have Stubborn Denial for the first thing. Lands are good for me. They're not spells. Here's the Shadow. Or a Scourge. Don't be a Liliana. Oh, they've got the Luris. Yep. I mean, when they sacrifice the Mire, I guess they're just gonna cast Bobble. If they sacrifice the Mire and give me priority, I guess now it doesn't matter. I guess I can sacrifice the Peatland to enable Revolt and then push the Luris. But I actually can't do the push right now, because then they could Stubborn Denial me, assuming they've got another blue source that they can get off of Mire, which is pretty likely. Alright, well, they're doing it now. So now I do get the window. Ooh, and Liliana Last Hope is really good. That can buy back a Bloodbraid. That was a really good draw. They're also not going to have Ferocious for the Stubborn Denial to counter it. Alright, we know the opponent's hand now. Alright, so the opponent still has Kolaghan's Command. We've got a Blackleaf Cliffs we don't mind discarding. So let's get this Liliana down. We will definitely buy back a creature. Ooh, we hit the Tireless Tracker. I mean, they've got the Fatal Push for the Tracker though. I think I still just want the Bloodbraid here, just because of the velocity that it provides. Also, like, I'm definitely playing a land here, and then the Kolaghan's Command would make me ditch the other land because I'm keeping the Bob. Unless I just like ditch the Bob and keep the land, but I think I just like getting back the Bloodbraid. Yeah. And then in terms of which land I'm playing, potential trackers would make me want to have the Verdant, but I definitely want to have the painless way to just like play this Bloodbraid next turn. Like the opponent's likely play is Kolaghan's Command, get back Goyf, kill the Liliana. Which we could be behind to if they've got a land to also play the Tarmogoyf. Alright, they've just got a Goyf. Yep. Alright, well that turns on the Denial. Pretty bad. And the Shadow. Jeez. Ooze. That's another thing that gets Fatal Pushed. I mean, I probably just have to Bloodbraid and then hope to hit something good. The opponent has Ferocious no matter what I do, even if I plus the Liliana. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna Bloodbraid here and like hope to hit a removal spell that forces the Stubborn Denial. Also, the opponent doesn't necessarily have Revolt, so Bloodbraid might just be the stickiest threat. And then in case I hit the other tracker, I should wait to play the land. I guess like Seasoned Pyromancer is another reason. Alright, well, Cleansing Wildfire will force the Stubborn Denial, because then they won't have blue if they don't counter it. I guess I'll just shrink the bigger one. I guess the Death Shadow has the higher potential to be bigger, so I'll shrink that one. And then I guess I'll play the land so I can get a land painlessly on my end step, or the opponent's end step. Not great. This Liliana's doing work. They kind of have to attack it, or else I'm going to buy back something. I mean, I guess they just get the Kolaghan's Command, kill the Bloodbraid that way. It's not looking good no matter how I angle it. Yeah. Kolaghan's Command. Buy back a Lurrus. Kill a Bloodbraid. Don't even know what I need now. It's got to be like Bloodbraid into something stupid. Yeah, Bloodbraid into Lily doesn't even do it. So the fetch is almost free. Yeah, it's got to be Bloodbraid into something stupid like a Seasoned Pyromancer. Alright, well, Ravine is not it. We just die. GG's. Okay, so I'm going to, after updating my record, do a quick deck tech / wrap up. There's that. Alright, so here's the deck that we just used to a 3-2. All in all, I was pretty happy with the list, with the exception of the game where my Wrenn and 6 got Thoughtseize. It felt pretty smooth. Like, I hit all my land drops pretty reliably. The sideboard, I think, could use some work. I don't really necessarily think there's a good reason to have the Alpine Moons here anymore, especially if I'm bringing in Necromentia for stuff like Field of the Dead. The bolts felt good, though. There were a few matchups where I wanted to bring them in. I brought in the Brutalities a few times, and the Cleansing Wildfires also didn't really see their day. But pretty similar to the Necromentia. There just really wasn't a matchup where I think I really wanted it, and I do think those matchups exist in relatively high numbers. I did bring in the Spell Bombs a few times, which were good, and the Ashocks were great versus the Storm opponent, obviously. But yeah, I mean, the sideboard felt pretty fine. I don't even know that it necessarily needs work. This is the first time I've had a configuration like this, and just like almost half of the sideboard, there wasn't a time. Basically for these six sideboard cards, there just wasn't a matchup where they were really applicable. But I mean, the main deck felt pretty good. I honestly can say I did not miss Tarmogoyfs 3 and 4. I don't like I mentioned before, and I'll say it again. I don't really think that where I want to be right now is just having a 2-mana generic beat stick. I think everything that I do is going to have to be hyper efficient, either hyper efficient way to interact, or be some way to accumulate advantage, be it cards like Wrenn and 6, Bob, Liliana, Bloodbraid, or some way to meaningfully impact some other zone of the game, be it Scavenging Ooze or Kolaghan's Command. So like I said again, I just want to be maxing on multi for ones, and then playing as many aces in the sideboard as possible. And I think this list achieves that pretty well. We had a 3-2 result, losing to the Death Shadow opponent in the last round, and also losing to the Hammer combo in the first round. I think we lost to a little bit of extra variance in the first round because game 1 we kept a pretty good hand, knowing the opponent was companioning Lurrus in the dark, and then we just didn't have any spot removal spells to deal with the combo. We had like a strong creature progression, but nothing to deal with the combo creatures. And then in game 2 we had mulligan to 5 and just like really couldn't pull back from it as the opponent had comboed. But yeah, I mean, all in all, this league felt pretty solid, and I'm happy with the list. Again, this list is pretty dissimilar to most stock Jund lists, and by pretty dissimilar in like the Jund perspective, that really only means like a 5 to 8 card difference. But that said, 5 to 8 cards can make a pretty significant difference in feel. So I think the next league, I'll probably do something very similar to this, if not the exact same thing. And until then, I'm going to wish you all a good day or good night. I hope you're having a good one wherever you're at. And until next time, Jund them out.